flew to Paris, and I met your dad and your mom on the streets of Paris, and they said that you were out shooting, but from what I gathered, they were so excited and so very proud. They may have been abroad before, many times, but this particular trip of theirs was very special because they said that John designed this entire trip for us and made it so special. It was like a gift from you to them. Of course, it's never enough, but it was so well planned, and they were so grateful and so proud to say that John has sent us on this trip. And it almost felt like a second honeymoon, I have to say. I'm so sorry. but they were so happy. I can't tell you, you weren't there to experience that. But there was so much joy, and you played the good son. Now, I'd like to add that you did an MBA, right? A very conventional education. Academia is what you started with, and you must have been pretty good at studies in school. But then when you finished your MBA, you suddenly decided to be a model. What did Dad have to think about that?
You know, surprisingly, I'd expect my friends to have encouraged me, and my father and mother to ask me and say, "Are you sure you really want to do this?" Because modeling, it's not a legitimate career. But not once did they question my career choice.
But didn't they say that, why did you do an MBA before and just...
My father actually, growing up, they said, "Son, study, because there is nothing more important in life than to study, because education makes you stand in front of a crowd, and you can speak to people. It gives you the power to speak and the power to choose right from wrong." And I studied, and after I finished my MBA, the only thing my dad said was, "You've studied, now you're on your own. Now do what you have to." And I was a media planner with an ad agency, and then I got into this modeling competition, and I chose to model. But I think they were extremely proud because I enjoyed it. They won that I won that competition, and they were extremely happy. And then the rest is history. Yeah.
But tell me one thing, John. You said you started as a model, and then you went on to do films. Now, in that whole process, was there anything that your father said that actually defined what you were thinking, planning to do? And when you said earlier, he said you're on your own. Were you really on your own? Or those are just words?
Well, I think in a strange way, I was on my own. I knew they were always there to back me, but I knew I was going out there into this world of modeling and then films. And, even in films where, Boman, you know best, and we know how it is, that, when you have someone in the industry, it becomes a little easier to hang in there. But, my father only gave me the sense of self-conviction. He said, "Believe in yourself, because there is nothing that can get you through." There'll be people who'll always speak good about you. There'll be people who'll speak bad about you. But don't hold anybody in disrespect. Just understand where they come from. He always says this. He says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." And you just continue with what you have to do, and that's be convinced about what you're doing.
Hey, John, we're talking about Father's Day, and this concept of Johnnie Walker Blue Label, Date with Dad. What does it mean to you?
I just want to give you an incident which is very interesting, and I think all you people out here must hear that. My mom and dad take care of old people at the Cheshire Home for the Aged. And a long time ago, when I'd gone there, which probably mom also doesn't remember, a guy my age walked in, America return guy, smart guy, walked in with his father, and he said, "Dad, you stay here, and I'll come and pick you up tomorrow." He never came back. His father passed away. He didn't come back for his father's cremation, and he never came back. The only time it seems he came back, and that's what the sisters told us, who were looking after the home, is when they had to divide the property. So the point I'm trying to make is, uh, it's so important that you make your family inclusive of whatever you do. You spend time with your parents, even if you argue with them. The important thing is just spending some time with them, and that's exactly what I've been doing. And these moments are very precious for me with my dad. I walk into his cabin. He's an architect, and I say, "So what are you doing? What job are you on right now?" And then he'll tell me what job he's on right now, and he'll ask me what's happening with my shoot, and we talk about it, and then we talk about the films that I do, and trust me, he's watching us right now. He's very entertained about the fact that you're sitting here, not me. So
I have to tell you, he's such a wonderfully frank person. He said, we talk not about you, but we talk about your wife at home more than you.
Yeah.
Whatever that means, Mr. Abraham.
Yeah, so he's a chilled out guy. He's a nice guy. Yeah.
If you had to surprise your dad, we're talking about Johnny Walker, Blue Label, Date with Dad. But if you have to surprise your dad at one such date, on Father's Day, what would you do about it?
My dad loves his whiskey, and Johnny Walker's the apt brand that has actually given us the opportunity to really support this cause of Date with Dad. But the one thing I'd like to do whilst my dad's having his drink is actually, we watch football games together, and he's better than any football app that I have. So when the World Cup was going on in Brazil, he would actually call me and tell me what the score is if I was shooting in the night, because I had night shoots, and the games were at 9:30, 12:30, and 3:30 in Brazil. So he'd say, Chile is one up, and this team is one down, and So we've shared some great moments. But the one thing that I'd like to do, Boman, is I'd like to take my dad for a live game somewhere in Europe. He's, of course, seen my team, Northeast United, play, and he's enjoyed these matches thoroughly. But I'd like to take him for one of the international games.
And Real Madrid is playing. Before we knew it, we were in a box watching this wonderful thing, and my son and I, it is a real dad-son moment. We were staring each other's face while the game was going on because we couldn't believe that was actually happening.
Wow.
And it was such a wonderful moment, I have to tell you. I believe those tickets are exorbitant, unaffordable.
Yeah, I went to a club in London recently, Arsenal, and a ticket for two on a prized game when they play big teams like Manchester United, and a ticket for two with dinner is £20,000.
£20,000?
£20,000. That's 2 lakh
thank
rupees.
Those people very much.
So it's a lot of money for just two people to watch a game. Then people like me would wish that the game goes on forever, because £20,000 abhi kharcha kiya hai. Abhi khelo aur khelo, So it's I can understand how you must have felt.
It was awesome.
Really special.
It was very, very special. Well, tell me, what is the best piece of advice your father has ever shared with you?
I think my father's always emphasized on the quality of character, and he says that you must always do good even when no one is watching.
I'm going to stop you right there. John, you don't know about this, but I know this for a fact. I had visited someone in the hospital once, maybe the same person, who probably didn't know either of us, but he told me that you had been there. And very quietly, without anyone knowing, and John, nobody knows about this, is exactly what you just said. Your father said that you should do good when nobody is watching. And I know this for a fact, John. John went down to the cashier, the receptionist, and paid the entire bill of that patient. And I think that's completely awesome. There was no press around. There was no need to even tweet about it or nothing. But that's what John Abraham is about. And Mr. Abraham, you should be very proud that he's following your word to the T, and you should be extremely proud.
Thank you.
It really epitomizes what you just said. Do good for people, but don't have to show it off.
Yeah.
I'm showing it off for you, so it's okay, right? Charles? Okay.
Charles.
Okay. Your fondest father-son memory?
I think it's playing football in the house.
Football in the house?
Yeah, we used to play football with this small red ball in the house and kick the ball around. And the only way we'd stop is when my mother was a referee. With a broom, she used to hit me. And that's the only way to stop the game.
What is he saying, Auntie? What is he saying?
Yeah. So,
would she hit you or, the other person playing also?
No.
No.
My dad...
No?
No, I don't know whether she hit my dad in private, but I definitely
Well, trust me, I've been married 30 years. I've had experiences myself. So.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed playing football at home?
I enjoyed playing football, and we used to watch the World Cup football every 4 years, and we used to watch the French Open, Wimbledon, US Open, and the Australian Open every year, like religion. Till today, he follows it, and he tells me whether Djokovic is playing and who's ahead in sets. Even when I'm not speaking to him, he'll call me up and he'll tell me this is what happened at the French Open. And so it's amazing how he follows sport. And he literally follows it more closely than I do because I'm shooting. So it's amazing.
Tell me one thing, what kind of a kid were you?
Very mischievous.
And you've ever gotten scolded,
Oh, yeah.
beaten up by who, mom or dad?
By mom. My father never screamed at me, but my mother did. And because my teacher said John means 24 grey hair in a day. So it was like I was this really mischievous student, and my brother was very studious. So I had to be a good boy so I don't lose plus points for my brother. So I had to really calm myself down. So in a class of 35, I used to stand 7th, 8th. So I was okay. But I used to be the athletics champion, 100 meters, 200 meters, relay, football.
No, we don't want to know of your accomplishments. We want to know whether you're a good boy or naughty boy.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Horrible means
But
really
your
naughty.
dad never was there any occasion where your dad scolded you?
I didn't have the guts to misbehave in front of my father.
And why is that?
I think he brought us up in a certain way because I'll tell you why. Once I said something nasty.
What do you mean by nasty?
I used an expletive when I was...
What does expletive mean?
I used a bad word which is not really bad today.
No bad words are bad, let me tell you.
Yeah, okay. And he kept me outside the house for 3 hours.
For
Outside
using
the
a
door.
bad word?
Yeah. So I stood outside the door for 3 hours and I didn't enter.
I can't ask you to use the bad word because he's sitting right here. He'll put us out of the ballroom right now.
I'm sure he'll send us out.
I'll also have to follow you. Yeah. So
I never
then,
messed in front of dad, but mom was always, you could take those liberties with mom.
But she's the hyper one.
Very hyper.
And dad is the calm one.
Very calm.
And still you were afraid of dad.
Still I was afraid of dad. This mother